Hey everybody, it's Texas Stroker here, Alliance's Performance Shop, Lone Star Mopars.com. Saturday afternoon, it is cold. Naturally it's cold because during the week it was in the 70s, and so now it's 28 with a wind chill. And I come to you from the hooded oracle of I'm freezing in the shop. And that said, there is something that literally came today. I was getting worried about it. It was a package I ordered specifically for one item. I needed it at work. I figured I would have had it like Wednesday or Thursday. That didn't happen. It said the label was destroyed, and then lo and behold, I opened the front door to come out here and there's a package. So don't know what happened, but don't really care because everything's here and it means we get to have some fun. So what is that item? Well, first, as you should know, anytime you place an order with KC Tool, you get a bit of thanks. Currently shipping as a number 2 from VIT. You currently also get a mystery sticker should you exceed the $100 mark. However, going back with the items that pair perfectly with this purchase, you're getting the German Tool sticker pack. Sticker pack, if you're concerned, is still available for standalone purchase if you're late to the game. For everyone else, mystery stickers, if you got to collect them all, those are also available standalone purchase. That said, this is one of those sort of unfortunate things. And let's see here, if I grab this box right here, this item was tool of the day. It is from Knipex. It is their part number 0828185. We'll leave it at that for now. So distinguishing eyes might notice something about the box or something about the part number, but that was tool of the day. And it was tool of the day when it was like really, really new. And that goes back to October. And I thought to myself, you know, I should pull the trigger on that because it could come in handy. And I talked myself out of it. And while I talked myself out of purchasing this item, I bought two items very, very, very similar to this item. We come full circle essentially, but we can't really get full circle without introducing these. And these, if anyone recalls, they are some of my favorite pliers of all time. And if you're like, hey, those look identical, they're 100% identical. This pair right here that's a little stiffer goes this way in the shop, straight that direction in an electrical box. And then this pair that is not near as stiff because they've seen more use goes this way to the service cart. So there's also a pair just like these, same configuration at work. And between the three places, they're amazing. What are these? Well, luckily, the part number is still here. These are going to be 0822145. This takes the best of the most common pliers and combines them into one superb package. Again, I was on the record long ago saying, you know, this could become my favorite pair of pliers, and then it did. It's just, the things you can do with this one pair of pliers is quite impressive. But if we take a gander at it, what we have, it's sort of a cross between combination pliers and needle nose pliers, right? There's also some other cool features. This one, Stiffy, came from the roll cart. So let me kind of show you, because I wish in this instance I just had the one pair here because it would have considerably more wear than when I'm dividing everything by two. But again, the fact that this is a tool that I genuinely believe enough in to purchase multiple pairs. What other examples? Well, from Knipex, the CutiX. There's several of those running around the shop, in part due to the blade packs not being available for purchase for a long time, and I needed blade replacements, so I would just buy another one. So there's lots of those hanging around, also at work. All right, but another item from Knipex that is all over the place in multiple configurations is the twin grip. Those three, of course, discounting Cobras and the Pliers wrench, which pretty much everyone's going to have strung out all over the place. Between the CutiX, these pliers, and the twin grips, I have absolutely no apologies for owning multiple pairs and multiple configurations and having them all over the place. It's done for convenience, plus great deals. It's not just I go out and I'm like, oh, you know, gonna get another pair of twin grips so I can have them sitting over here handy. It's usually, it's a tool of the day, it's the seasonal, it's a quarterly sale, plus some like the Super Bowl discount, you know, something along those lines. And you just slowly accrue them. And again, I have no worries because A, I can space them out for my convenience, and B, I don't mind having backup pairs for something that I use all the time. So this pair right here that has been used longer than that pair is now in the electrical box. And again, for the sake of the video, it would be cool if all that use and all this use was on one pair. But divide and conquer, you know. So there's really not much wear to speak of. You can just kind of see where the uniform coating, you know, you can kind of see some rub marks. Probably a lot of this is stuff that the pliers have pulled off. These do so many things, and they do so many things very well. So obviously you're going to notice sharp eyes. There's a hole in the pliers. I didn't custom drill that. Think of grabbing a cotter pin. Think of grabbing a nail, which is what I do with these at work. Which I can only do it on the small nails, you know, but you've got that going for you. You've got a gripping area, sort of like akin to standard combination pliers or NWS. The only thing that could make this any better is if we had crosshatch teeth. And that's minor nitpicking. That's just a fantasy of mine. And spoiler alert, if Knipex were to come out with this exact pair of pliers and they put crosshatched teeth on it, it would be here, and I would be a happy little guy. But it's also able to cut, which is again fantastic. The other thing that's kind of unheralded with this, you can grab flat stock. It's one side only. It's very hard to discern this, but when you put flat stock in here, it's going to grip down, and it actually provides 3 points of contact, not 2. When you have 2 points of contact, so if you're trying to bend or pull or anything, it's quite difficult. It's not going to work out well. The 3 points of contact works in your favor. This is just a very well executed, well thought out tool. So you're thinking, great, how does that tie in with this? Well, here's how it ties in, okay? These literally just arrived. Once more to cover it, they are part number 08, 28, 185, and then they end in US. Some of you know the tip off there. These will sit you back $59.67. So $60. They're kind of a spendy pair of pliers, but this is why. You'll think, okay, I could see why that costs a little extra. Okay. Again, no tricks in the box there. This is my first time checking these out because, again, they just showed up here. And this is what we got. And you're thinking like, hey, haha, cool. You know, you got the insulated version of that. Yeah, to an extent we did. But here's the catch, okay? If I set that down there, some of you see it. I hope all of you see it. If not, let me kind of slide this in. Let me slide this up here against the CutiX. Let me slide this one down here. Now do you see it? We've built a staircase to heaven, right? This is 145. This is 145. This middle piece is 185. To translate that to old school, this is 5.7 and this is 7. Okay, so about 5 3/4 inches or so, and then 7 inches. You're getting 1 inch and a quarter more length, if you will, from this pair of pliers. Yet it maintains everything that you have. Clearly, you know, you're going to increase your gripping capacities, you're going to increase your cutting capacities. It's just a larger plier head. You'll also reduce your access to a certain degree, but again, thanks to the design of the pliers, I think we'll be okay. But you're thinking like, okay, well, hey, why on earth did you just bring these in? Well, here's why. I have lathe number 2. Ah, yes, lathe number 2. This goes back, man, I don't know. I've been swamped maybe 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks possibly. And it is a rotary disconnect, all right? It's an old LeBlond. This one, dadgum, can't think of the years. I got them all. It's really cool. We've got the World War II, and then we purchased the 3 of them. This one is like, it's 70s or 80s, okay? We'll just run with that. Think of like 78 to 84, maybe, somewhere in there. And on the front is a panel. It's a rotary disconnect. What does that mean? It means I don't go up and down. It means there's a switch, you know? And that's the rotary part. Well, that rotary disconnect broke, as they often do. Some of you, if you were an electrician back in the day, maybe if you work in irrigation, maybe if you service a whole lot of industrial machines or maintain them from similar eras, you already know. And when I say GE, you can complete the thought here, right? It's a THC 32. Some of you might have said 31. This is a slightly larger one. So THC 32. And I open the panel, you know, to diagnose what happens, and it's just shattered. The board is shattered right where the handle is. Everything else intact. So naturally, I think, okay, let me check with my suppliers. And I call around and I don't hear anything back. And I'm not somebody that's going to prod. Like, you're either going to do your job and make money or you're not. And when people don't seem to want to do their job, I go elsewhere. So I've got a guy I talked with a lot at LeBlanc here the last like 6 months. And I hit him up and he was having a hard time finding it. I'm like, okay, what's the deal? And so, you know, I'm Googling it. Anytime you Google something and the first hit, the first result is a hit back from eBay, you know you're in for an ordeal. Okay, that's not a good sign. That usually means something is obsolete, superseded, or a combination of the two. As many of these rotary style disconnects from GE are out there, it is unfathomable to me that there is not something stocked somewhere that would interchange through SEO type stuff, right? GE, I finally got desperate. I went straight to the horse. Of course, the straight to the horse in that case takes you to a woman in the Philippines. And we're not there under passport bro scenario. So what do I have to do? I have to see if she can get me the part number that superseded it. And I give it to her. And of course, I wait forever. And then she tells me 151 days to manufacture, which is kind of nuts. And then to get a price, I was told that I can't have it over the phone. I would have to email, which is also nuts. That makes absolutely no sense. That was kind of a downturn. That's also then what my guy at LeBlanc came back with. And yeah, one thing leads to another, and next thing you know, where am I? I'm back on eBay. Because 151 days is a long time for lathe 2 to be down. So sadly, the whole assembly that was there when I started this thing, you know, like a week prior, it was gone. Somebody bought it. I'm like, oh, geez, you know, other people are having the same problem, dang it. And so I checked back, you know, a couple times. Finally, just the backing plate with the switch intact was there. I hate purchasing used electrical components, especially when it's a used electrical component from 1970, 1980, right? It's seen a lot of use. Most likely, if it was NOS, it would all be there. It would be advertised and sold for more. So you don't really know what you're getting. Everything is fine minus this. And for all the idiots, you know, that are going to come in and say, well, just change the panel. No. You have no idea. Could I do that on lathe 3? 100%. I wouldn't have much issue there, right? Lathe 2, no. We've got controls on the front panel. it would be a nightmare. But that's why these are here. Because I went and I got a voltage pin and I was checking it. I got to have the main power off or that thing is live all the time. I'm sure there's a disconnect somewhere, but I'm not the one that wired everything. So I need the main power off, and it's essentially just going to have to be dismantled. So there's the 3 leads coming in your ground, and I got to pull those, and I've got to literally take the whole thing out to get to the backing plate, so I can take that out, plug in my eBay unit, unless I decide it's bad and I want to salvage pieces off of the eBay unit to possibly rebuild the switch mechanism. Haven't gotten to take it apart to see where it broke and how bad things are on that one, aside from the obvious part, but I can't see the backside. That's why these are here. I value my life, and if I can prevent myself from taking, 480 volts, I'll do it. So these have me covered with 1,000 volts. I think, odd as it may seem, these are actually possibly my first ever VDE pliers from Knipex. Don't hold me to that. Something might have snuck in. But these will go to work. They'll live there unless I need to bring them back home with me. One thing that I've always admired about the VDE is not the color scheme. I get it, bright, vibrant, easily distinguishable. That's also ketchup and mustard, what have you, which is funny because I got these on the Super Bowl sale, 15% off. But one thing I actually love is this. I get it. Some people are going to say, no, we don't want that. I don't even want these grips. They're too freaking bulky. I need the plain Jane ones. Well, I actually like that. It's sort of like a safety feature. Obviously, in this case, I don't want your hand to fly forward into something live, but I wouldn't mind seeing that as an option from time to time on other tools. I nearly purchased some side cutters, VDE, to pair with these, but the thing is, Like, this will cut, and I don't need to cut. If I cut something, I've done something bad in this particular case. I deal a lot with electrical stuff, but usually when it's not connected to a power source, right? So these will be nice. And again, just the versatility of these. Is it a lineman plier? No, but it does a lot of the same things. It will cut for me, it will grip, it will pull, it will bend. This was kind of like the perfect storm, and again, I'm confident purchasing these because I love these so much. So this again just brought in, I did at least get 15% by the Super Bowl sale, but I needed these. I thought I would have had them. Something happened with the package, so granted, I got slammed at work. I've been in the Arctic region, which conveniently wasn't cold until Friday, doing a ton of work like the last 12 days. But now I'm almost done with that, so when I am, this becomes a priority because I got that thing from eBay that actually arrived just like the picture and intact, which is kind of crazy. So sometime next week, hopefully, I'll be using those and getting Lathe 2 back up and running. And I will also probably start trying to slowly accrue THC 32 parts and pieces. So, again, let me know if you're like an old school electrician. You've probably replaced a lot of those for the same reason. But that said, you're thinking like, hey, wait. I remember at the start of the video, you said that you had a chance to buy these on Tool of the Day, but you didn't because you got something similar. Is that why these are here and the video is over? This was fast for you? No, 100% not. So, it was in October, I think. I'm not a Knipex historian, although I might be closer than some people, if anyone cares to have that title. I want to say it was like October 23, sometime in the fall, that I think this 185 iteration of these pliers came out. This was Tool of the Day back then. I want to say for like a pretty good buy, Tool of the Day, you're probably going to get more than 15%. But I talked myself out of that. I was like, no. And what I did is I was like, you know what? I'm going to check and see if they've got the, bigger iterations and standard in. And that would be part number 0822 185, and it is right here. And price point on this is currently the same thing as it was back then, $50.56, holding nicely. And I will admit, yeah, these are, these aren't cheap pliers, but they are very, very good pliers. Unlike my thumb that struggles with something as simple as opening a plastic bag. But here they are. This is the Big Daddy version of that. So 5.7, 7.0, 145 millimeter, 185 millimeter. These are pretty nimble compared to that pair. That pair is very odd that I have a pair of Knipex that stays stiff that long. Granted, I can eliminate that by shooting some ballast on it, but we have not crossed that bridge yet. So, these are fan-frickin-tastic. It should be everything I know and love there, just in a slightly larger package, which again, does what for me? Bigger capabilities, easier cutting of larger wires, so on and so forth. I think you won't have much of an issue getting places you can with those. Obviously, if overall length is a constraint, yeah, 5.7 is going to be handier. But for some people, something this size, like 10 inch, yes, 250, like I want it all, give it to me. Or, the linesman 8-9 inch range, people might be accustomed to that. I think this is kind of a sweet spot. In fact, even with stuff like Cobras and Pliers wrenches, this does pretty much everything you'd want the 10 inch pair to do, but it's also going to give you a more comfortable purchase with your hand. It's just kind of something to think about. But I didn't stop there. When I thought, you know what, I love these pliers and I've wanted to get this, but I'm going to need a second pair, because I'm thinking already, like, I'm going to take one to work. So I spent some more money, and you're thinking like, oh man, you don't even need to show us these. Same thing, you're just going to take and work. Did you get the plain handles just in case it's bulky? No, we paid an extra $5 and change, and we picked up Knipex 08 25 185. This is something I don't usually have from anyone, let alone Knipex. And reasons for that, well, I usually get really good deals. I don't really have issues with rust. And I recall a German tool reviews video where he was questioning the cutting performance when you add an additional coating, and that's sort of what we'd have with this. You think, oh geez, same thing, all that build up for no reason. Well, let's actually take a closer look, shall we? Notice anything different? You think like, oh, that one's shinier, it must just be the light. Yeah, that's better. Now this is standard, and this is actually chrome plated. It's very rare, again, that I buy chrome-plated Knipex, Pliers wrench, Cobras, alligators, you name it. You can get chrome-plated iterations. Some of you, like on the Gulf states or seaboard, East Coast, West Coast, might do that by default. I don't really have to worry about that. So, it is what it is. But I thought, you know what? I want two pairs. I'd kind of like to distinguish them, and I thought to myself when I was doing it, like, that would make a pretty cool video. It's an extra $5. It's something I should absolutely love 100%, again, because of my experience here. So I thought, let's do it. Let's make the video. And then little did I know that a couple months later it's going to kick me that I didn't buy the VDE iteration, and I'd wind up bringing them in. But hey, that's life. You come full circle. And, the ultimate lesson here is, when in doubt and you see it on Tool of the Day, procure the item for future use, if nothing else, right? Save a little cash. But yeah, we essentially have the gauntlet here. I do believe the 7-inch has an iteration. Is there a tethered one yet? Not 100% sure. Let me kind of try and walk you through the price range here. The most expensive actually is going to be the insulated one at $59.67. If some of you are like, oh, okay, yes, this is going on my list, but I wish it was chrome plated, you can combine the chrome plating with the VDE, and you would be looking at part number 08-26-185. Before you get excited, no, I don't have that behind the scenes here. I'm telling you for your own reference. 08-26-185. It's only $1 more. I don't know if that was even in stock when I know it's not currently in stock, but whenever this was going down, I don't think they had the chromed ones yet. But it's $60.67, it's $1 more. Again, I don't have issue with the standard iterations. Also, that German tool reviews video I referenced where he was questioning the cutting capabilities, always kind of kept that in the back of my mind. If you need the chrome plating for corrosion resistance, just go that route. And again, with the VDE, it's kind of negligible. You're spending like $1 more. So if it makes you happy, in that case, go for it, because it's not like you've got a huge detriment there. Coming back down from the $60 mark to the $59 mark, we would have this, the chrome plated. You're looking at $55.91. Okay, if you think, man, I want to save as much as I possibly can, I don't have to have chrome either. You want to go this route, you're going to spend $50.56. Okay, so essentially between 50 to 60, you can get yourself this iteration, or you can jump all the way to the VDE with the chrome plating. To put that in perspective for you, the 5.7s, which again I think would be a fantastic, you could definitely equip that in EDC category. I'm not saying pocket style EDC, I'm just saying take that with you. There won't be much that you can't accomplish with it, right? In terms of standard pliers anyway. But for the comfort grip here that you see, you would be looking at $43.95. So essentially, think of that as like 40, we'll say 44 versus 50 versus 60. So kind of between 15-20 bucks, you can jump from here to chrome plated VDE in a larger size. If you're on a maximum budget, or, and I do know there's a lot of you that hate the 2-component handle, you can get the plain Jane ones for $39.88, basically 40 bucks. So running the gauntlet here, strip this down, put your classic dipped. This is not textured, okay? This is, which I actually don't mind the texture. Yes, it gets dirty, it's hard to clean, but think of these, Knipex dipped, just like channel lock blue type of a thing. 40 bucks. This is sort of your slightly more, all right, for the 2-component, which again, when you look at 39 versus 43, I'm going to spend the extra $4, okay? If it was 39 versus 79, I'm like, you know what? That dipped version is going to be just fine for me. That said, going 40 to 60, this is a very, very nice plier range. If you do not have to concern yourself with voltage, or electrical situations, obviously I'd stay away from that. Pick your poison. The smaller size does have a tether option. I'm sure the 7-inch, if it's not already out, will get it. But since we sort of have like a specific item-specific video, I'm going to take this bag, throw it down, and drop this in front of you. And, this catalog sadly does not have the 7s, again, because they're very new. But if we take a look at the needle nose combination pliers, you can sort of see the gauntlet there. There's your dipped at the top. There's your 2-component. There is your tethered in the 5.7. There is the VDE. Now, the interesting thing, to the best of my knowledge, you cannot procure the 5.7 iteration with chrome plating. They may have expanded, they may have changed, remains to be seen. Right here, though, we want to highlight this because it's easier to do it with pictures, okay? This is what I call the nail slot. I'm sure most of you like, you've been wires with that idiot. Yeah, you can do whatever with it, but that is a nice feature. This is something that makes way more sense in the catalog than me talking to you. Typical pair of pliers, you're going to grab here and you're going to grab here where the jaws spread and where you've got the narrowest point. You're going to have your material contact. You would have 2 points. However, if you look at that closely, you're going to see that top jaw is actually kind of parallel on the material. It's creating a purchase point 1, 2, and 3. This is not, okay, this jaw you've just got to purchase there. But those 3 points of contact, vastly superior to 2. Ask me how I know. If you need an example, grab this pair of pliers, grab a standard pair, and see the difference, particularly needle nose in that case. Right there, your cutting capacities, and then here's a great example. They've got a cotter pin. They're not pulling it with the milled end, they're just actually bending it over. Again, these worked fantastic for that. Something I was going to say earlier, sort of an unsung thing that these are great at, is pulling staples. Now, the staples I'm usually yanking out of boxes, when motors come in, I kind of need, pincers for that to get the leverage. But like in terms of light duty staples, things along those lines, these are great because, again, they have such a slim head. The 5.7, the smaller pair, if we just come in across the board, we've got multi-stranded. They can cut 8mm or 5/16. Medium hard, you're looking at 5/64 or 2mm. And then sort of a soft, you could get 1/8 of an inch, 3mm. I think I wrote down the 7-inch specs here, which again, larger head should have greater capacities here. So 13mm stranded is what these would be capable of. 3mm hardwire, 3.8mm, medium hard soft. Take with that what you will. But I will tell you once more, you're not going to see this here for no reason. You see this here because I love this pair, this style of pliers from Knipex. It's also incredibly rare, okay? This is a situation where, I'd never seen something like this before. Coming in, I've said many times, when I use pliers, I'm typically using needle nose, right? It's one of those things. I try to use the appropriate tool for the job, and most of the time when I'm grabbing, bending, pulling, trying to grab something that rolled underneath the intake manifold and drag it back, these just work better than, say, a standard pair of combination pliers, right? So if we come in here and grab the Protos, you get the idea. These are all here on the bench because, again, they're used so frequently. But these right here are fantastic. However, that's all they are. They're needle nose pliers, right? Some of you will call snipe nose, some of you will say long nose. There's textbook definitions if you want to bend around and get things precise, but essentially whatever vernacular you want to apply, long, pointed, needle, snipe, what have you, right? So this, though, takes what's best about this pair of 318 CBs and what's great about this pair of Protos and sort of combines them, okay? So here, where yes, you do actually have the ability to cut stuff, most people are going to prefer this, right? Here, where you've got, your standard gripping areas, the one huge selling point of these 318 CBs, you've got flat, no teeth, and then you've got the cross hatching, which again, that's all I could think of to improve these is cross hatch the tops. I would again come in and you'd see 2 more pairs of those added in, possibly 3 or 4, depending. We just slowly work towards getting all 4 with cross hatching. But this is taking these 2 great pliers and putting it into one tool. So instead of having to carry this, you carry that. Like I said, the 7-inch, you think, man, you should have just bought those from the beginning. You know, it's not that much bigger. Well, here's the deal. They were not available. Take these out of the picture with that as well. They didn't exist. You just had the 5.7. So I assume someone at Knipex, the natural course of progression, just sales. You know, it's one of those things. Something happened and they're like, you know what? People love these. We need to offer them in a bigger size. Okay. Same thing with the twin grip. I would love to see the twin grip offered slightly smaller. You know, maybe in that 5 and maybe even this range, 5 to 6, I'd say. I would be a buyer there. Would I be interested in these in like a 250 or 10-inch iteration? Probably. I don't know that I would jump right out. I'd wait for a sale, you know, tool of the day, seasonal, something like that. But if you have still never tried these, think to yourself, okay, am I someone that would need the smaller pair or a larger pair, and get them? Even if you just put them on a wish list and wait. Maybe tool of the day is like a, I don't know, like a really, really nice ratchet that you want, and it's $45. And you think, man, you know, that's sad. I'm going to have to pay freight on that. Throw these on at that point in time, right? Get your free freight, save $15, and have a great pair of pliers to go with your ratchet. It's one of those things you just got to approach cautiously. But if I had to advise you on what to try first, I would legitimately go with the 5.7s. And the reason I say that is because I feel like they're going to get in slightly more compacted areas. I feel like you're going to get a good feel for what they're capable of. Most people that are going to be buying these are also then going to have the bigger, larger pair of either side cutters or linesman's type pliers. Of course, a Cobra or pliers wrench type of a thing. I feel like that void would be closer to fill, plus it's the lower price point, right? So come in, spend the 40 before you spend 55 on these. I can't say enough good things about them. Again, I don't make jack. I post links. Again, that's still for your convenience. I don't make kickback. I don't get dimes. Knipex isn't like, well done, salesman 412. Like, there's none of that. This is just, I purchased this. I loved it. And then I've expanded from there because they're that good. So 5.7 or 7-inch, which one would you pick as a starter and why? Of course, you could go, if you need the VDE stuff, maybe grab this, get this standard, take it from there type of a thing. But yeah, let's real quick kind of try to highlight the differences here. And by highlight, I mean get something black behind here, so you can hopefully see the difference between the chrome plating and standard. Yeah, also I'm very, very curious what you would buy and why. Again, the price is really negligible to make that happen, in my opinion. Again, if this was like a 45 and this was 75, it's like, hey, I'm getting these. Or same thing on the grips. If this was an extra $25, I'd be like, you know what, I can live without that. But when you're talking about like $1 here and there, it makes it really hard not to just do what you would want to do in a perfect scenario. But what I plan to do, I don't know if I should take these to work or these, but that's kind of my thoughts. I'm not going to divide and conquer and have 2 pairs all over this shop. I'll still probably reach for these, but I do want to take one of these 2 pairs to work. Maybe these, and then I'd have the chrome here for testing stuff. Well, and I don't know. The VDE stuff, you can definitely use it all the time, but I also kind of like to keep it for the specific tasks at hand, right? And it'll be really nice because, again, that's kind of like an all-in-one solution for me. We're about to time out there. I didn't want that to happen, but yeah, I don't know. These are for sure going to work, and then in the oddest circumstance I need them here at the house, I'll just bring them back. But I think one of these would go too, because what I do gets pretty dirty, pretty nasty. The ones at work, the jaws look about the same. It's just the handles are sort of like a black gray color with embedded material in the handles and smudges and everything. Not quite that pristine. These kind of have that, actually. If we look at this one, again, this is just what happens, you know, when you use things, don't get to spit shine them all the time. But sort of the smudges here One of them had, yeah, stuff like this, right? The work pair, just picture that all over everything, right? But the good news is the head, the jaws, still in fantastic shape. So I can't say enough about these. Obviously, again, I'm buying these with my own money. Am I getting deals on some of them? Yes. Did I miss deals on some of them? Sadly. But they are just a killer pair of pliers. I cannot recommend them enough. Again, depending on what you do, what you want to do, what voids you have, maybe like all your pliers are small, in this case, grab them in the larger size. Maybe everything you've got is like 8 to 10 inches. Get these suckers in the smaller size, right? Just do what's best for you and what you've got in your own arsenal. But I cannot recommend these enough. Once you have them and you're using them, I don't think anyone will disagree with that statement. These are just a fantastic pair of pliers. And like I said, you don't really see this from anyone. You can't go to Klein and find this stuff. Milwaukee doesn't have it. Channel Lock doesn't do anything similar. Snap-on, Tool Trucks, I haven't seen it. Harbor Freight hasn't even knocked these off yet, you know, so this is where they belong, in my opinion. If these were available for 20 bucks under the Icon line and it got people to try them out and then the teeth wear down really fast, I think you would still at least hopefully get to the point you're like, that's a fantastic design. I'm going to get the Knipex, right? But it is what it is. Again, I guess they're not for everybody, but I think if you've got them, you're going to absolutely love them the same way I do. So that is it, man. I wish I could go back in time. I would have pulled the trigger on these when they were tool of the day. Ironically, the very day they're tool of the day, I purchased those two. And, like I said, we came full circle because now I need these. So as usual, I try to tell you like why I bought it, the application. There is a specific application here for that. Otherwise, it would just been these two. They would have been showcased, and I would have brought these out and said, man, these are great. And they have a bigger version now. But as is, that's what we've got. Again, fantastic pliers. I love them. This will actually kind of be nice to have a VDE pair too. If you've got any recommendations on others you think I should throw in or have, let me know. Again, like I said, I work with electrical stuff all the time. It's just usually dead, right? You know, this is kind of one of those things where and this is something I don't do often, right? I'm in and out of panels all the time, and I'm usually not having to dismantle them completely, you know, and replace the rotary disconnect. So, although that is very common, especially like in old furnace panels. But anyway, I'm going to quit rambling. Let me know your thoughts on these, particularly if you already had the 5.7. Some of you, if you bought these when they first came out, you've had them in use for quite a few, like what, 6 months now. Let everyone know how you're liking them, which one you prefer, 5.7 or 7. Again, let me know your thoughts. If you're coming in, are you going 5.7? Are you going 7? 40 millimeters difference there. Are you going VDE? Are you going chrome plated, standard? Let me know your thoughts down below. Hopefully it helps people out. But again, I say this still as somebody that doesn't make a dime. If you go buy all 5 of these, this is just a killer style of plier. I can't recommend it enough. I think you're absolutely going to love it. And I'm interested to see. Again, I know a lot of you, when I've showcased these and then come back multiple times later when I'd bring in more and say like, man, I absolutely love these. I've had many of you echo the same sentiments. And if your dream was like, man, I wish those were just a little bigger, there you go. If you think, man, I really wish they would have just done 8-inch or 10-inch even, tell them. That would be a massive pair, a 10-inch pair. But hey, you know, maybe you've got an application. Tell Knipex, send them emails, call them, you know, hit them up on social media, whatever. Maybe it'll happen. So, also, if anyone wants to see slightly smaller twin grips, you know, that would be great too. Maybe we can get a movement going on that front. But anyway, I'm going to quit rambling. I do hope you enjoyed. Hopefully you learned a little something from all this. And wish me luck with these, because hopefully maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, I can crank. Nothing happens, which it always does. I'm hoping I can get that fixed if the eBay part is good. And like I said, after that, I'll either be waiting 150 days or I will be hoarding old panel parts from now on. So Let me know your thoughts, though, on all this. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you're having yourself a fantastic weekend. If you liked the video, I encourage you to leave a thumbs up. If you got thoughts and opinions, feel free to share them down below. Similarly, if you like several things we've done, or you're like, yeah, this is that guy that recommended these and I picked them up. If you haven't subscribed, I encourage you to do so. If you ring the bell, jump your charger across the creek, grab the 5.7 and the 7-inch Knipex combination needle nose pliers. YouTube just might notify you that we got new videos every Wednesday and Saturday, 9 a.m. Texas time. With that said, thanks again for watching. I hope I catch you back here for more action from the shop.